Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Forex Market Preview. I'm your host, Jason Stapleton. We're going to look over the currency markets here today. And what I'm going to do today, so for all of you who are new, is we're going to cover some of the trading ideas that I think are going to be good going into next week, but a little bit different this week. The first thing that's going to be different is that I'm going to spend a very brief moment talking about pure structure trading. It's something that I've been working with the syndicate members on here for a while, showing them some of my structure trades, explaining a little bit about it. Those of you who watch this show frequently know we focus largely on advanced pattern formations. They have the clearest rule set, the least amount of subjectivity, and are really highly profitable when traded consistently. But I've been working on just pure structure because a lot of people think if they don't have some kind of fancy pattern on their chart that they can't trade. And although it's a little bit different and your mindset is a little bit different, the process that you go through, what we call the IPDE, or Identify, Predict, Decide, and Execute, doesn't really change much. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about those structure plays, about stuff, one key trade that I think will be good for next week. And then I'm going to show you, and this is the kicker, I'm going to show you what is probably the biggest thing to happen to trade empowered since the Cypher pattern was released. But hang on, because it's going to be big. But we're going to start first here on the charts. So let's get right in here. EURUSD. Now, if you remember back to last week, I talked about a rally out of this, how I was expecting a rally and was watching for one. If you were in the syndicate this week, you noticed that we really didn't take a long position here. We took one, excuse me. We didn't instantly buy because we didn't instantly get the press down into 3870s. Or 3670s, which is what I said I wanted on this in order to look for a long position. And the market really just traded sideways, and we got a couple of dips in the market, but no rally beyond that. And then we got this little dip here, and we rallied back up. And the second dip, we tried to get down there. We held that support level, and I thought, well, I'm going to put some money here and look for a rally. If I bring in my RSI indicator, you're going to see RSI is now buried. RSI at the point we entered was almost buried, was basically oversold. And so I was looking for a pop out of this market to see if we get a little bit of a rally back out. We didn't get it. The market just continued to go lower and lower. And this goes back to what I was saying last week. A market is never too low to sell. It's never too high to buy. I took a chance here to see if I could make a little bit of money on a rally, and the market is just dying. Now, I expect to see a rally out of this. I just don't know where it's going to come from. All this could just be, market pressing down to try and find out what sort of stops we have in here, what kind of money is resting under here that they could grab a hold of before they do a nice little relief rally. But if you'll remember, what I said from last week is that this looks a lot like 2008. Same basic setup. We didn't get quite as big a dip here before the rally back up, but now we're seeing the collapse. And so I want to be short, really want to be short here. The market just hasn't given me the opportunity to do that. Any rally back up into this zone, so if I fatten this up a little bit, any rally back up into here, basically, I'm going to look to be a seller. Because, again, market has broken structure to the downside. We rally back up into previous structure support. Support should become resistance, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of a rollover there. But again, that may or may not happen next week. We may just get a huge dump. The market may just fall off a cliff. But it doesn't make good sense to sell here. We're out in the middle of no man's land. We need to wait for that relief rally. We need to wait for something to give us some indication that the market is going to rally and it's going to hold that previous structure level. So we'll be looking for that into next week. Another good trade that I'm watching here on Aussie dollar. Made a little bit of money on Aussie dollar on Friday. Not a lot. This week of trading was not nearly as good as last week, but them's the breaks. So we gave a little bit of profit back from last week, this week, and next week hopefully we'll be on the winning side of things again. Again, look at the structure here, okay? Market came down into the support level, then we rally back up into previous structure support, which then becomes resistance, and now we're looking for the market to roll over. So just another idea. We'll see if we can get there or not. If not, we may end up, there is an opportunity just to, I think this market's got more downside. I think we're going to violate these lows. We played the structure play off the bottom on Friday. It didn't get up there. And so now we got to think about maybe going the other direction with it. So we'll be watching that into next week. Now, here's the really cool thing. I know a lot of you guys really like patterns, and you like doing it, and some of you have even taken courses from me and who are working through the process of training the reticular activating system, that little piece in the back of your brain that tells you what to pay attention to. Some of you have tried to devise what the patterns are, what the rules are for each one of the patterns. You've done a lot of research online because you don't want to spend any money. And I've had question after question after question about pattern software. And hey, where is there any good software out there that will show me what the patterns are? And the answer is no, there's not. They have some free software out there. We've tested all of it. Much of it was written for free years and years and years ago, and it has been rewritten because it's open source. It's been rewritten and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten with weird rule sets. And we actually looked at taking some of that free software at one point and stripping out code that we thought would be valuable, and then trying to put together and modify the code so it would fit what we wanted it to do. And frankly, guys, our coders basically said this is hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of work. There's tens of thousands of lines of code in this software, and it's not going to work. You really need to do something from scratch. Not only that, but that software missed what was really the most powerful point. One of the most difficult thing about trading patterns is identifying the X to A leg, that anchor leg that tells you what all the other Fibonacci levels come off of. And if you don't have that X to A leg, if you don't have that stuff set into place, then everything else will be wrong. All of your other calculations will be wrong. The pattern will be completely off. And that's what I get the majority of the time that people are sending me, is they send me patterns that say, hey, can you look at this? Is this right? Rarely, if ever, do I respond. And 99% of the time, the pattern is wrong. It's because they've either misidentified the X to A leg, or they don't know the right combination of Fibonacci levels that create the pattern. We're very specific here about what those levels are, and one of the reasons that we've been doing a lot of historical testing on a lot of the patterns here recently is, and I'll give you some, I'll explain why in just a minute. And looking at percent accuracy of the patterns, and one of the guys that has been helping us code up the system, or what I'm about to show you in a minute, has been knocked down because he's been unable to get any of the patterns to produce more than a 40% profitability. And as soon as we gave him the correct rule set, as soon as we gave him the correct Fibonacci levels, all of a sudden his 40% accurate system is becoming 60, 62, 70% accurate. Cross your fingers. So, and we've been doing a lot of back testing on this. So, what we have done is we have created a trading system, software, pattern recognition software that looks at the market the way a human being does. Let me show you. This is Constellation. It is pattern recognition software for NinjaTrader that has all of the correct rule sets in it for trading patterns the way we teach. Not only that, the most powerful piece of this software is that it correctly identifies X to A legs because it looks at the market the way a human being does. It literally looks at it bar by bar by bar and says, where is this bar in relationship to this bar? And where is this bar in relationship to the previous low? And just the way your eye would naturally look and see this is a swing low and this is a potential swing high, the pattern software is able to do that as well. This is something that has never been done by anyone, and we're using it now to develop pattern recognition software that really, it doesn't miss. I've been amazed at how accurate this has been. And this is in the final beta testing stages. Now we've got it for it will look for Gartley patterns, bat patterns, Cypher patterns, and butterfly patterns. and to look for it on any time frame that you want. But if you notice here at the bottom of your screen here on, say, well, let's just look at this one, Euro Yen, okay? There is a lot going on here, right? Because we've got this thing set to look at all of the patterns. But let's say you don't trade all of these patterns. You couldn't trade all this. This is kind of a mess because the software now is picking up every single potential pattern, much more than your eye would ever be able to pick up naturally. So if I go in here, grab my little set here, and I decide, okay, you know what? I am only going to look at, I'm not going to look at butterfly patterns because I don't really like to trade those. And you know what? I'm just going to carve out Gartley patterns too. And then I click apply. Well, now all of a sudden, I'm just looking at those two patterns. I'm looking at bat patterns and I'm looking at Cypher patterns. And it gives me 2 or 3 little setups here on the daily chart that my eye can key into on where I need to buy, where I need to put my stops and my targets and all of those types of things. Now, another cool thing about this is I can also choose whether or not I want to have bullish patterns or just bearish patterns. So let's say, for example, you're using some higher time frame confirmation and you only want to trade patterns that are with the underlying trend. So let's do something like this. Let's grab this. Whoops. All right. A lot of mess on here, so we're going to clean it up a little bit. We're going to come in here. We're going to shut off, again, our butterfly patterns and our Gartley patterns. We'll click apply, and that gives us some bullish and some bearish patterns. Well, let's say that the underlying trend for this market is bullish, and so I don't want to look at any bearish patterns. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to tell the thing, I only want you to show me bearish patterns. So my bullish patterns, I'm going to make false, and boom. Now you have only bullish patterns. And you've got a way to carve out exactly what you want to trade and what is part of your rule set, what's part of what you trade according to your trading plan. And guys, it just has been phenomenal. We're doing back testing now. One of the things we've never been able to do is look at extended amounts of data, because there are 2 problems. Number one is that you're always restricted to human error when you're doing it because maybe your eye doesn't pick a particular pattern. We actually go through a process here of looking for patterns that didn't work in order to try and get an accurate representation of what the numbers really are. And then the second problem we have is just the amount of time that it takes to look back a year, 2 years, 3 years worth of data and try and find all of those patterns. It is massively time consuming. Well, with this new software, we're able to look at, we can look back 12 years. I've given orders to our research and development team to look back 5 years to give us basically from 2008 forward and show me what the performance was of every single pattern that was traded on both the 60-minute and the 15-minute time frame, to give you guys kind of an idea of what the performance of these patterns really are. For the first time, you guys are going to get to see that. And we're just starting that process. As we release the Constellation software, we're going to be showing that to you guys. Now, there is one more thing. As if that wasn't enough, I know some of you, for some weird reason, just don't like NinjaTrader. You're stuck in that MetaTrader environment and you just like it, and your broker has you can't get NinjaTrader because you're stuck overseas and they don't offer, your broker doesn't offer access to NinjaTrader. So guess what we've got? That's right. The pattern software also works on MetaTrader. You guys know this is pretty big for us because we do not use MetaTrader software in our training or other stuff that we're involved with. So this is, we don't code any of our other systems in MetaTrader. So this is a very, very, I guess, unique thing that we're doing here with MetaTrader and trying to give those of you who don't have access to a lot of the other stuff that we do access to this. And like I said, the same rules apply, the same parameter settings. You can break it down the same way that I showed you previously. But this is, we're testing all of this now, and we have a release date coming up. Now, I'm going to put it on the screen right here. You can click on it if you want to, but also in the About section of the YouTube page, you're also going to find a link to basically the notification list. A lot of you guys are like, oh, when's it coming out? Well, we have a release date. It's about a month and a half away. And if you want to be notified as soon as we have information about this and we've got videos together for you, then just go ahead and put your information into that email. I just need an email address. I need to know where to send you the information when it comes through. Just make sure it's a valid email address. Don't give me that, that second or third tier email address that you never check, because this is only a notification list for those of you who are interested in this. Okay? So, make sure you get your name down on that, and I will make sure that the second the videos are out, you guys are notified that you can go and watch them, and I will have full details about all of this stuff and why we use patterns and why this is such a powerful thing, and the performance numbers that will be associated with it. We'll also be showing you a whole host of stuff in regards to this, and so make sure that you get on that list. But anyway, that is going to do it for me this week. I'm so happy that you joined us, and again, it took a long time to kind of introduce you guys and to kind of do the debut of this pattern software stuff, but I'm very, very happy that you showed up, and if you're new, come back next week. We'll do a lot more analysis and give you guys a lot more trading ideas into next week. Till then, good luck, good trading. I'll talk to you soon.